Yes, what's up, maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are talking Hell in a Cell. What a pay-per-view. I think this is probably one of the better Hell in a Cell pay-per-views that I have seen. I think it was a really, really good show. And we just saw all kinds of stuff in it, man. There was certain levels of violence, but story being told throughout was probably the main feature. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. So I'm here to review it. I'm doing it on a live stream. So this is probably one of the first times. Well, that's not true. I've done live streams before, but this is the first time, and I'm going to try and continue doing the reviews as live so I can get it out to you guys quicker. And some of you guys prefer the live streams. You can prefer the interaction that happens in the live stream. So hit me up whether you're watching it live or watching it later. Let me know your comments all the time as per usual. And yeah, we are gonna get into the video. You know, right here at WrestleManiacUK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. And make sure you're hitting the like button, whether you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, hit the like button. Right. So let's get into it. And the show started with excuse me, I think I'm choking up because it was an emotional match. It should have started with a Hell in a Cell match, and it was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. And you know, from minute one, this was very similar in a lot of situations to the match they had. Was it Clash of Champions? Very, very similar in that regard. You know, Roman started in the ascendancy, showing his power, showing his dominance over Jey Uso. And then, you know, Jey Uso grows back into the match and he's able to get some offense in and really challenge Roman Reigns. You know, Roman Reigns is the head of the table. He is the biggest star in WWE currently. And, you know, I think the main thing they've done really well in this feud is make Reigns be the biggest star and show he is the biggest star. And Jey Uso has played into that. You've even kind of, what's the word? Really pushed Jey Uso as a main eventer. You know, he's really elevated himself to be in the ring and share the same ring as Roman. And, you know, as you can see on the screen, like this match got really, really intense once the leather strap came out. And Jey Uso was absolutely flogging Roman Reigns with this. Like literally after 2 hits, Roman Reigns' whole shoulder was just red. It was incredible. And then, you know, Roman Reigns got into the ascendancy with the leather strap, started hitting Uso over the back with it as well. And that thing was really wrapping around him with every strike. It was nasty. It was nasty, you know. But again, the trash talk as well during these two's match, it was incredible. Like the grease that's just coming out of them. You know, we had a couple of S-bombs by Jey Uso, and you could tell backstage production they tried to bleep it out. They were getting the timing a bit wrong. Roman Reigns, you know, I won't quit. I won't quit. I'm the head of the table. The head of the table never quits. Bro, like, I am here for this. Like, it was just so encapsulating. Like, it was real TV drama, you know, real TV drama. One thing that I didn't like was the referee was very, especially to Jey Uso, but he done it to Roman Reigns as well. The referee was very kind of, are you gonna quit? Are you gonna quit? Just say the words and, you know, I'll ring the bell and everything. Like, ref, you're just there to facilitate hearing the word I quit. You shouldn't be there trying to, you know, influence people ultimately. You see what I mean? But he seemed like he was very much trying to influence somebody to quit, which I think is wrong. And it was too much of it. It wasn't that, you know, it might happen every now and again, even in an I quit match. I guess you'll have to watch it back to see if that is the kind of the culture of the referees when they're in this kind of match. But he was doing it too much. It's like he wanted someone to quit so he could, like, you know, go on break or something. Like, it was crazy the way he was just over kind of trying to, you know, influence that decision on one of the men. Roman really started coming into his own, dominating the match and all of that kind of stuff, to the point where Uso looked like he was completely knocked out. Jey was not responding at all, but obviously at the same time, he hasn't said I quit. So, Jey has to now, Roman, should I say, Roman has to now find a way to get Jey to say I quit, or for something to happen. Roman's giving him drive-bys on the edge of the ring with the ring steps with his head in between. Like, it's absolutely just gruesome what this match is kind of descending into. And then Roman had got Jey into the middle of the ring and tried to absolutely just crush his head with the ring steps. When all of a sudden you see Jimmy Uso, his brother, enter the cell, lay his body on top of Jey. Again, very similar to what happened at Clash of Champions. However, it was at this point where Jimmy Uso was saying to Roman, we're brothers, we're cousins. It doesn't have to be like this. He was saying their real names. I think it was Josh and Jacob. I think it was. He was saying, we're real cousins and stuff. It doesn't have to be like this. Whatever you're going through, we can talk through this. Guys, Roman broke down in tears. Roman Reigns was crying in the middle of the ring. Like, I thought this was fake tears. You saw the tremors. When you're about to cry and the mouth is like... and you see the eyes. He was crying. There's no other way to put it. Roman Reigns cried in the middle of the ring, and he looked like he was reuniting with his brothers, with his cousins. Jimmy put out the extended arm. We had Roman kind of shake the arms. They touched heads. I thought this was it. I thought maybe they are just going to join up with Roman, and yeah. They'll just join up with Roman, and then from there, they'll just kind of decide how they kind of dominate SmackDown together, whether it's in a good light or a bad light. But no, it wasn't enough for Roman. Roman put Jimmy Uso in the guillotine submission. Jey put his hand into Jimmy's hand, and I don't know what... I kind of understand what they were trying to show, where Jimmy was very... like he was kind of passing out sort of thing. Jimmy was passing out. Jey then said, I quit, just to save his brother. And again, it's that kind of, that twin collaboration, once you're a twin, it's different. The setup is different. So Jey said, I quit for the sake of his brother, which I guess still kind of protects Jey. Roman gets the win. And the icing on the cake was, Roman leaving the cell now as the Universal Champion, retaining that championship. And at the top of the entranceway, Alpha and Sika, his uncle, his father, heads of the family sort of thing, they were there with the lay, crowning Roman as the tribal chief. Just absolutely brilliant scenes. Just a really nice way to kind of end it. And again, an emotional story. And it just leaves you, you can't wait to SmackDown. SmackDown's all the way on Friday now to see where this is going to go. So going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, hell of a match, hell of a story being told by those guys. If we move on now to, these matches in between the cell matches were the feature of the show. So I'm not going to spend too much time. And, truth be told, I don't know really what happened in this Elias and Jeff Hardy match, because I kind of switched off. I wasn't really happy to see this on the card. Obviously, we know that Elias is launching an album in the next couple of days, if not today, I think. So this, I guess, was kind of somewhat promotion. The match ended with Elias going to hit Jeff Hardy over the back with the guitar, as he does. Jeff Hardy saw him attempting to do so. Jeff Hardy took the guitar from Elias, and Jeff Hardy actually hit Elias with the guitar. So Jeff Hardy got disqualified, and Elias gets the win here. A bit of a nothing, boring match. Like I say, I wasn't invested at all. And yeah, I mean, it's been said that Elias is probably in line to get a bit of a push, that they really like Elias backstage. So yeah, I guess that's going to happen. Moving on, a match I was a bit more invested in, Otis versus The Miz, Money in the Bank contract on the line. Whoever won the match would be the contract holder. And Otis has, kind of always been displayed. Yes, he's a bit of a joke or a comedic kind of wrestler, should I say? But he's always been displayed as a strong man, you know, a big guy as he is, and he did carry this match for long parts with his dominance throughout. John Morrison really tried to kind of help the Miz at parts, to the point where John Morrison was eventually kicked out by the referee because he was caught trying to hit the Miz, Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And as he dropped it, I actually saw on camera when Tucker kind of bent down to grab the briefcase. Before you knew it, Otis came bouncing off the ropes. Tucker completely clocked Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And guys, Miz could not believe his luck. He rolled over Otis, pinned him 1, 2, 3. And Miz is the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. It was crazy to see. Tucker has betrayed Otis. I guess some would have said they saw this coming. It's a decent story to spin off and tell. You know, Tucker was kind of forgotten when Otis became this star, got pushed into singles competition, got given the Money in the Bank contract, was given the girl as well, Mandy Rose. Tucker argued afterwards in a backstage interview with Kayla Braxton that, you know, he influenced Otis to go after Mandy Rose. He gave him all the confidence. Otis is nothing without Tucker. And to be fair, these are all valid arguments. You know, this is often coming back to the heel that makes good points, and these are all valid arguments. And the only thing now I wonder is, how are they really going to tell this story? Because these guys are on different brands. You know, Otis is on SmackDown, Tucker is on Raw. And despite it being a kind of good way to get the belt onto Miz, doesn't leave Otis looking very good. But how are they now going to continue this story? Is it possible in any way, shape, or form? Obviously, Survivor Series is next month, where brands cross each other and stuff. So maybe they've got an out there. But if we talk a bit about Miz as a Money in the Bank briefcase holder, interesting. I don't know if he's going to cash it in successfully. I wouldn't think so. But I guess this is more like someone that they would put it on rather than Otis. So it's a shame Otis won it. Was made to look like a bit of a chump. Never had no real plan for Otis as the briefcase holder, and now he's lost it. His girl is on the other show. His best friend that just turned on him is on the other show, and I'm sure Otis is just gonna fade into a bit of obscurity now on SmackDown. It's a shame, like I say, but we'll see how it goes. The next Hell in a Cell match we had was Sasha Banks versus Bayley. But before we get on to that, guys, if you're enjoying this review, please make sure you smash the like button, give us a thumbs up. It's thoroughly appreciated right here at WrestleManiacUK, and it does loads for the channel. So if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button. So Sasha Banks and Bayley, this is somewhat the blow off, even though I don't think it's going to be the blow off of, you know, their entire relationship from this year, the run they've had, tag team champions, you know, being the faces of both Raw and SmackDown at a point, winning the top titles, both being double champions, dropping that, Bayley turning on Sasha, and here we are now. Brilliant match. These women, their chemistry is undeniable. Like, it was just a very, very good match. I mean, if we're talking about some of the best women's matches that have ever happened in WWE, you know, and I'm NXT included, WWE umbrella, Sasha Banks and Bayley might hold, like, say, 3 matches in the top 10, if you don't want to go as close to, say, the top 5. Their chemistry is brilliant. This is one of this is surely the best female Hell in a Cell match they've put on. They've only had a couple, but this is the best of the couple they've had in WWE. And throughout the match, you know, Bayley, and let's not forget Bayley. Obviously, Sasha Banks currently online, you know, getting her accolades. And yes, Sasha Banks came out on top, guys. But Bayley in this entire story, Bayley's run this year it's you can't argue with the fact she's number one in the world. She was rated PWI number one in the world. You can't argue with that. It's impossible. As a woman, it's impossible. She has had a tremendous year, a fantastic year, and she done her part in this story, in this match as well. It was just phenomenal. Some of the spots they come up with, the creativity, really, really good stuff. And you know, the ending sequence where Sasha Banks had Bayley in the bank statement, wrapped the chair around her neck. Obviously, the chair has been so significant in this story from the minute that Bayley turned on Sasha, wrapped her neck in that chair, and was furiously kicking that chair frantically. Shades of their NXT match, Brooklyn, when I can't remember what happened. She was Bayley was in a bank statement, and maybe she was reaching for the rope, and Sasha Banks was just frantically kicking her hand. I think Bayley broke her hand that night, if I'm correct. Literally the same sort of imagery, and what a way to become SmackDown women's champion for the first time in her career. You know, I believe Sasha Banks is a 6-time women's champion now on the main roster. 5 of those times, I think, were on Raw. And this is her first time on SmackDown. If I'm incorrect, it might be 4 times on Raw, and this is her first time on SmackDown. But I think she's a 5-time World Women's Champion, and this is her first SmackDown one. And well deserved. I did think they were going to drag this out. I did think Bayley was going to retain, and then maybe Sasha wins in the Rumble, goes on to WrestleMania to face Bayley. I did think they were going to eke this out for a bit longer, but that match deserved a Sasha win. You know, it deserved for the title to change hands. Just so good. These women are so good, and hopefully WWE now give this woman the reign that she deserves. You know, we've seen a lot of short title reigns. We've seen a lot of title reigns for Sasha Banks, but a lot of very short, meaningless title reigns. Hopefully, this is the run that really puts her up there as a champion in WWE. She already is up there as just a wrestler, a person, one of the greatest women's wrestlers that WWE have ever had. She's up there already. But as a champion, she needs to really etch her name into the woodwork, and hopefully this is the reign that does it. I'm looking forward to, you know, possible competitors she's going to have. You know, they've just repackaged Carmella. That could be a possible competitor. Zelina Vega is out now on her own doing this singles wrestler thing. That could be a possible competitor. Bianca Belair, which I'm sure we all want to see. The Boss versus the EST. That will be phenomenal. So can't wait to see what they're going to throw at Sasha. And yeah, Sasha and Bayley. This is it's a double win. Bayley lost her title, but this is a double win. The match was absolutely fantastic, and both women are absolutely fantastic. Moving on, we had another kind of rest match, filler match, if you want to call it. Mustafa Ali, look at the state of me. Mustafa Ali had basically laid out a challenge to the Hurt Business that one of your guys should take on one of the Retribution guys on the show. Bobby Lashley stepped up for Hurt Business and nominated Slapjack to be his opponent. So Slapjack versus Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley even put the United States Championship on the line in this match, and it was more or less a squash match. You know, they just done this match to bring everything down from where we were at the height of the Hell in a Cell match with Bayley and Sasha, bring it down before we get back to the last Hell in a Cell match. And it was more or less a squash match. Bobby Lashley, very, very dominant, retained his United States Championship. Once he retained it, Retribution descended upon the ring. No one was allowed around the ring during the match. But once he won, Retribution descended upon the ring. But Bobby Lashley fought them off. He fought off literally about 3-4 guys on his own. Now, what does that say about Retribution? It's just like, he looked really lame. Like, let's be honest. Looking really lame. There was a really good scene where like Mustafa Ali tried to get in on the action, and then the rest of the Hurt Business jumped in, and Mustafa Ali was like, "Oh God, like they've caught me." He squirmed his way out the ring. Mustafa Ali and the rest of Retribution kind of headed for the hills around the Timekeepers area, ran away, and Hurt Business were left standing strong after that. And I think Mustafa Ali, some way, somehow, is gonna take this belt off Bobby Lashley. I don't know how, but Mustafa Ali, because what is Retribution doing otherwise, you know? I think somehow he's gonna find a way to become US champion. And that'll be very interesting to see. Be a nice piece of singles gold from Mustafa Ali. And at least give Retribution something to do, if you see what I mean. So that will be interesting. Last but not least, we had the final Hell in a Cell match. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Now, I know for a lot of people, this has really died down in the last couple of months. I think at one point, everyone didn't mind Randy Orton winning. It's like that boat has now sailed, you know, it's gone. This was never for me going to be the third time that Randy Orton lost to Drew McIntyre, and especially because this match now main evented, I was pretty sure something serious was gonna happen. Something was gonna happen. And you know, we had the match start by Drew McIntyre coming out first. Randy Orton dressed as one of the cameramen, a la like he did with Edge at WrestleMania. Came out, tried to get a cheeky upper hand on Drew McIntyre. That didn't really work. And they started wrestling around the ring. They got into the ring. Randy Orton wrestled half of this match, still dressed as a cameraman with his trousers on and all sorts. It was a very kind of slow match, a typical Randy Orton match. A typical Randy Orton match where things were really slow and weren't the most interesting. Especially because, like I say, these guys have had 2 or 3 matches beforehand, and it's like, you know, what new are you guys bringing to the table? Yes, we have a cell now, so I guess we were all kind of waiting for a cell spot, especially because in the previous 2 cell matches on the night, we hadn't really got much usage out of the cell. Those are really just no disqualification matches. So we were waiting to see how the cell is going to get involved now in the main event. Randy Orton found the chain cutters that Drew McIntyre had on Raw. These were now under the ring. Randy Orton used that to open the lock on the door and exit the ring. And he looked like he was walking away from it all when Drew McIntyre kind of ran out the ring and pulled him back and attacked him and stuff like that. Randy Orton got the upper hand again and climbed the cell. So now Randy Orton was on top of the cell and telling Drew McIntyre, you know, come up if you think you're that guy, sort of thing. And Drew ascended the cell. And both men fought for a while on the top of the cell. Nothing really dangerous happened. There was like a steel pipe that was camouflaged, a red steel pipe camouflaged with the top of the cell that Randy Orton had picked up and was using. And then both men were getting down on the other side of the cell. And as you can see them, they're descending from the cell. You can see there was a little ledge that had probably been built for these guys to stand on. Just a little tiny one. And of course, earlier on in the match, they had stripped the table, the announcer's table. So we just knew at this point, one of these men were going off the side of the cell, should I say, not off the top. And it was Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton had thrown him from the side of the cell through the announcer's table. Massive crash. Obviously, Drew McIntyre is a massive lad. And Randy Orton just climbed down as normal. These guys got back into the ring. There was a bit more back and forth. Just when Drew McIntyre looked like he was in the ascendancy, looked like he was about to lay what would have been the finishing Claymore, Randy Orton ducked out of the way, popped up as he does, hit Drew McIntyre with the RKO, and Randy Orton pinned Drew McIntyre to become a 14-time WWE champion. Now, Drew McIntyre deserves, all the accolades. He has held the belt in a very difficult time for the company, for wrestling, and he has done a terrific job. Randy Orton is someone that just looks like a champion, has always looked like a champion. And with that belt back around him, he just looks normal. It really just looks normal. Looks like that's where it belongs. Now, you always have to look at upcoming programming, and it looks like they are obviously promoting Undertaker, 30 years of the Undertaker in WWE, I believe, Survivor Series next month. And I can't help but think they are looking at a program between the Phenom and the Legend Killer, Randy Orton. I suppose Randy Orton's going to retain. I'm not expecting him to drop it to Undertaker. And I think the long-term picture of Randy Orton becoming world champion is Edge. And I don't want to see it. If those guys have to wrestle again, let them wrestle again. But it doesn't have to be for the championship. But yeah, it is what it is. I think Drew McIntyre has done a fantastic job. I think Randy Orton's going to, do a great job as well. This has capped off a really good heel run for Randy Orton. It's not finished. It is not finished by any means. But he has done some really brilliant work. He should have won this belt probably back around SummerSlam times. But here we are now, Randy Orton, WWE champion, to close the show. And like I said, guys, this is probably one of the best Hell in the Cell pay-per-views I have seen. In terms of the Hell in the Cell matches, you can argue they didn't really need the cell, because the cell should be the absolute where you're locked in and going to tear each other apart. And WWE is never really going to get to that level of violence, these days. So you shouldn't be having, it waters down having 3 Hell in a Cell matches. It waters it down. But this was a very good pay-per-view with great stories and very interesting results coming out of it. And I can't wait to see what Monday Night Raw and Smackdown looks like this week. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Please let me know your thoughts. Randy Orton as new champion, Sasha Banks as new champion. Jey and Jimmy Uso look like they're about to fall in line as part of Roman's regime. The tribal chief retained and was crowned by his uncles, Alpha, his father, Sika. All of these guys, involved and invested in this storyline. So yeah, guys, let me know all your thoughts for Hell in a Cell down below in the comments. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.